leaves the final question, which you accepted as an urgent question from Councillor Helen Brown.
Okay. Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Okay, my urgent question was, and thank you, Chair, for allowing it at a late stage. Will the Leader of Flintshire County Council and his Cabinet join the thousands of Flintshire residents to call for the 20 miles per hour to be rescinded by Mark Drakeford? We live in a democratic society, and this certainly isn't.
Councillor Ian Roberts, please.
Thank you, and I noticed part of the thanks there. I wasn't included because I should have been, because I believe I could have said no to this question since it was so late as well. But there we are. Will the Leader of Flintshire County Council and his Cabinet? I don't know. What the Cabinet may do. Some of them may have signed it for all I know. I don't know what the Cabinet will do on this particular matter. I do happen to know what the Leader of Flintshire County Council will do, and I refer to the second part of this in this. We live in a democratic society, and as part of a democracy we are all entitled to our opinion. Yes, it's slow. Yes, it takes some getting used to. But on a personal level, when I voted for the Welsh Labour at the last Senedd elections, I knew what was in the manifesto. And this was quite clearly in the manifesto. So, no, Madam Chair, I will not be signing, and I certainly haven't signed the petition. But if I could just take a last moment of Council's time today. Last Saturday was a very nice afternoon. We normally drive up the coast, up the North Wales coast, have a walk somewhere, coffee. But this time, we decided to go on the Wirral. I actually said to my wife, let's get away from 20 miles an hour. So we drove down as far as Two Mills, turned left towards Hoylake. Drove into Heswall, 20 miles an hour signs on the main roads in Heswall. My wife said, look, the whole side roads in Heswall, off the the de-restricted one, 20 miles an hour signs. What's happened here? Drove a bit further on into West Kirby, down the hill into West Kirby, 20 miles an hour. In fact, like Wales, one of them was blacked out, where someone had sprayed over it. All the way through then to Hoylake Prom, West Kirby, Marine Lake Prom, 20 miles an hour. All the way. Now, I am just warning anyone in council, if you're hoping to get away from 20 miles an hour by going over to the Wirral, I'd avoid it, because you're not going to escape it. It's there. Yeah, as I said earlier, it will take some getting used to. But you know, will it be rescinded by Mark Drakeford? Well, you know, Mark Drakeford may be many things, but in my opinion, he is not a dictator. And as far as I'm aware, this was a super majority in the Senedd to pass this legislation. Am I right there? It included Plaid Cymru. Might have even included the Liberal Democrats. Yeah? Well, it might have included the Liberal Democrats. So I hope my view on this is respected, and I hope I do not get a pile of emails and abuse because of what I've said here today, because I could have just said what I've done on the 20 miles an hour is up to me. But I will not be. And for those of you hoping to escape it, don't go for a drive on the Wirral.
I have, yeah. Yeah. Slower speeds result in higher fuel consumption and higher emissions, and it has not gone unnoticed that the fuel prices are rising daily at the pumps. We hear that the Senedd has further plans for imposing further speed restrictions within our communities in Wales. People who are travelling to work, taxis and bus users are all having their daily routines lengthened. Businesses are being affected, tourism is being affected, drivers are admittedly focusing on speedometers in their vehicles rather than on the road. Drivers are being totally confused by the signs that have been placed, and I'm sure I don't need to list the examples, I'm sure you've all seen them. People are actually driving at 15 miles per hour in some places as they are confused and not wanting fines, and this is causing absolute mayhem. The petition in circulation calling for the Senedd to rescind the 20 mile per hour is record-breaking, with over 430,000 already signed, and the last time I checked, Allen and Deeside was one of the most signed areas. The message is loud and clear. People will no longer be ignored. There is nothing democratic. Since when did the Senedd think it's okay to impose laws without asking us what we think? The Senedd cannot dictate what it thinks we should do without asking us. Do you agree with me that in the name of democracy, a full consultation to every household in Wales should have taken place? 33 million has been spent on this, and that sum of money is disgusting when we have such an underfunded NHS, not to mention the state of the roads in Flintshire that are blighted and will become ever more dangerous in the coming months with potholes. Yet again, Flintshire are struggling to find another budget cap, and this time you can't blame Westminster. This is the interesting part now, if you look at the National Transport Delivery Plan for 2022 to 2027, in particular, 3.3.3, motivation to shift away from private car use, the paragraph reads, we will motivate... Can I carry on? We will motivate people away from private car use through demand management in Wales. It's coming to it. The Wales Transport Strategy includes a commitment to develop national road user charging network. Further work will be undertaken to develop a fair and equitable road-using charging network, including how local authorities can borrow against these revenue streams to fund transport improvements, and also to consider other alternatives such as workplace car parking levies and road space allocation. My question is, can we get this on the next agenda?
Mr. Chair, that's a supplementary question to the leader. It's not a question of process, and you can't direct those questions of process to officers, Chair. And if it's a supplementary question, it's to the leader, because it's a supplementary question to the leader. It's not a question to you.
I'd like a discussion at the next council meeting on the National Transport Delivery Plan 2022 to 2027.
Yeah, that's not the question.
Then that's a matter of a notice of motion for the County Council, where all of the County Council can take part in that discussion. On the issue of a consultation, I don't think personally there's any greater consultation with the public than an election. People might not like the answer, but I've got a right to give the answer in a democratic society. I didn't abuse, I didn't comment when the question was being asked, and I expect the same courtesy now. It took place during the election, when people had the opportunity to vote on the policies that were contained in the manifesto. Now, we took some time in that question to get to the bit, and I've actually written down, Councillor Brown actually said this is the interesting part, almost as though all that preamble that went in front of it. But this is the interesting part. If you go on the Senedd petitions website, the last time I looked, 6 of the signatures were from the Falkland Islands. Am I right? Yes? Yeah. 1, I think, was from the Vatican City. There are people from all over. Yes, there's a lot of people in Wales, and I admit Allen and Deeside is particularly high. Chair, I object to being interrupted all the time. And Delyn is particularly high, as the Vale of Glamorgan is particularly high. But people voted at the last election. And if people are going to vote, they need to understand what the policies are that they vote for. When people voted Welsh Labour in this council, there was a clear manifesto that said what this administration or what this group would do if it got back into power. Now, if people choose to vote for that, there's the map, the plan of how we go forward. And I hope, genuinely hope now, that my views are accepted, because this says in a democratic society, and part of democracy is people disagreeing, and I will not be signing. I don't know what other cabinet members are doing, presumably that is for them.